right, so what we're looking at now is the review of the metric system, and also we're also going to look at the imperial system. So first of all, the basic units of metric measurement are grams if I am talking about mass or weight, liters, which is what we do for volume, or in other words liquids, and obviously meters for length. Now the prefixes are added to those above units, and the most common that we'll see in everyday life are things such as kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, and milli. And what happens with these ones here, the grams, liters, and meters, I just put those prefixes in front of them. So kilograms, kiloliters, kilometers. Okay, so that's how it works in the metric system. Now, when I move from one prefix to another, it's a factor of 10. So what's nice about the metric system is everything has to do with tens. So I'm either multiplying or dividing by tens. Now, what I have here in red are the first letter of each one of the prefixes. So deca, D, notice U, when we'll have to talk about that one, D, deci, C, centi, and M for milli. Now the U is actually the unit. So the unit has to do whether I'm talking about grams, liters, or meters. So that's what goes there. Now, I need to remember the order of those prefixes, so the easiest way is to come up with some kind of mnemonic clue to help you. So one that I've come across a few years ago on the internet went, kids hide dirty underwear down covered manholes. Not really nice, kind of yucky, but it's so yucky, I think that I remember it. So when I move along that prefix row, when I move from the left to the right, what I do is I multiply for each prefix. So if I'm going over 2, I'd be multiplying by 10 twice, or in other words, by 100. If I move from right to left, I'm going to divide for each prefix. Sorry about that. So let's look at a couple questions. Okay, the first example is 6.78 kilometers to meters. So the first thing I need to do is I need to bring up that kids hide dirty underwear down covered manholes. And what I do is I'm at kilometers. Kilometers is here. And I want to go to meters. Now meters is not the M at the end. That's for milliliters. I want to go to the unit. So from going from here, so I'm counting how many spaces there are in between. So 1, 2, 3. So then I take where my decimal is and I move it in the same direction. So it'd be 1, 2, 3. So my new decimal comes in after the 9. And that means that 6.789 kilometers is the same as 6,789 meters. Okay, so it's just a matter of moving it along. Another example, this time the unit, we're talking about liters here. So again, kids hide dirty underwear down covered manholes. And let's take a look. So liters, milliliters. So I'm here, milliliters, and I want to go to liters, which is a unit. So I'm moving 1, 2, 3. So I'm moving 1, 2, 3, but notice I'm just going to bring this one down here for a second. I'm moving the decimal over 3 to the left. So 1, 2, 3. So what I do in these places where I have no numbers is I put zeros. So my actual answer then is 0 decimal. And now here's this decimal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. And the 65. Okay, so it's just a matter of moving the decimal place. And it moves the same way as you're moving across the prefix line. Okay, now let's take a look at imperial. Now, imperial is based on a totally different system. Actually, metric is easier because it's base 10. Imperial doesn't have necessarily a base. Usually people that have taken a lot of shop classes find this a little bit easier because you've had to work with imperial measurement in the shops. So first of all, let's look at some basic conversions. So 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. 1 yard is the same as 36 inches. Okay, so this is, when we talk about a meter stick, a yard stick, that's where that's coming from. 1 yard is 3 feet. 1 mile is 5,280 feet, and 1 mile in yards is 1760. Now, what we do with short forms, we don't have prefixes like we did with the metric, but they have short forms. So for instance, if I'm looking at these short forms, so inches, we can either use IN or we use the quotation mark. Feet, FT, or the apostrophe. Yard, RD, and mile, MI. Make sure with the mile that you do put the I in there, because otherwise if you just put an M, we can't tell the difference whether it's meters or miles. All right, so let's take a look at the first example. It says 5 feet 5 inches to feet. Well, hold on. I already have some feet there. You're right, but my 5 inches isn't expressed as a foot. It's expressed as an inch. So what I can do is a couple different things, and I'm going to set it up. I need to change that 5 inches. I need to change it so that it's something feet. Well, I know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So you can see what I need to do here. I need to do 5 divided by 12 to get it. Or if you want to look at it this way, we can cross multiply. And when we do that, if I'm finding the feet, it's going to be 5 times 1, and then I would divide by the 12. And when we do that, we end up with something like 0.42, I believe it is. And so now to answer that question, that's the same as 5.42 feet. Now, the next one is yards to miles. So some of you can look at it right away, especially if you see the conversion in front of you and you know whether you're multiplying or dividing. Some of us can't see that. So just like the last question, if I'm looking at yards to miles, I want to go up here and I want to find yards to miles. Well, I can see it's this one here. So I know that 1 mile is the same as 1760 yards. So I want to find, because I want to go 2 miles, so I want to find the miles. So it goes on the top, just as I have a 1 mile here. And on the bottom, I have 36,548. So now what I do is I can cross multiplying. So it's 1 times the 36, but you can see also I'm going to be dividing by 1760. So it's totally up to you whether you treat it as just looking at it and knowing that you need to divide, or whether you literally do the cross multiplying and then dividing. Either way, you're going to get the right answer. So x, when we divide by that, let's bring up a calculator very quickly. And I think I have one in my hand. Instead of bringing up the graphing one on the computer, we'll just use a little hand job one. So here we have 36548, and we're dividing it by 1760. For a grand total approximately 20.8, and that would be miles. Okay, so you have some work to do. It's not that difficult, but make sure that you understand it before you move on to the first full-blown lesson of this unit.